You don't feel weak. You feel tired. Tired of explaining yourself. Tired of reacting. Tired of giving energy to people who never deserved it. And here's the truth no one told you. You are not exhausted because life is hard. You're exhausted because you respond to everything. Every comment, every insult, every misunderstanding, every text, every little shift in tone. You think you're being mature. You think you're being clear. You think explaining yourself makes you strong, but it doesn't. It makes you predictable, and predictable men are controllable men. Tonight, you learn something different. Not manipulation, not revenge, not fake confidence. You learn the art of ignoring, and once you truly understand it, people lose the ability to pull your strings. The philosophy of silence, why powerful men don't chase. 500 years ago, Niccolo Machiavelli observed rulers lose their power for one simple reason. They reacted too much. They defended themselves. They argued. They justified decisions. They chased loyalty. And in doing so, they lowered themselves. Machiavelli noticed something most people still don't understand. The man who chases approval loses authority. The man who withdraws gains gravity. Silence is not weakness. Silence is positioning. When you answer every criticism, you look defensive. When you respond to every attack, you look bothered. When you try to correct every misunderstanding, you look insecure. But when you stay still, people start questioning themselves. Silence sends one powerful message. You are not important enough to disturb my peace. That is not arrogance. That is hierarchy. Machiavelli advised leaders to be both fox and lion. The fox avoids traps. The lion chooses battles carefully. Most men today are neither. They bark at every noise. They chase every argument. They jump into every comment section fight. They leak power constantly. You won't be that man. Power is not loud. Power does not explain itself. Power does not beg to be understood. Power simply exists, and others adjust to it. When you stop reacting, you stop playing a game someone else designed. You create your own frame, and in your frame, not everyone gets access. What happens when you ignore someone? The psychology behind it. Now let's go deeper. This isn't just philosophy, it's psychology. When you intentionally ignore someone, yes, something powerful happens inside their mind. The human brain is wired for response. We crave acknowledgement, validation, recognition. When that response doesn't come, the brain reads it like pain. Studies show social rejection activates the same neural pathways as physical injury. That's why being ignored feels heavy in the chest, tight in the stomach, hard to sleep with. When you stop responding, they don't move on peacefully. They overthink. They replay conversations. They analyze your last message. They wonder what changed. They draft texts they never send. You become a question mark in their mind, and the human brain hates unanswered questions. This is where power flips. When you constantly react, you give closure. You give certainty. You give emotional stability. When you withdraw, you create tension, and tension creates attention. Weak men chase attention. Strong men control its absence. Ignoring is not cruelty. It's strategic non-participation. You are refusing to fuel dynamics that do not serve you. And when you refuse to feed someone attention, they either rise to meet your level or they disappear. Both outcomes benefit you. The difference between absence and strategic withdrawal. Let's clarify something important. Disappearing randomly is not power. That's immaturity. Strategic withdrawal is different. It means you are present in the world, but selective with your energy. You don't answer every call immediately. You don't reply to every message instantly. You don't jump into every emotional situation. You move with intention. Most men exhaust themselves trying to be accessible, always available, always online, always reacting. And when something is always available, it loses value. Rarity creates attraction. Selective presence creates respect. When people don't know exactly where they stand with you, they pay closer attention. When your time is not easily accessed, it becomes expensive. Your attention is currency, and you've been spending it like it's free. That stops now. The first shift. This isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming disciplined. You don't ignore everyone. You ignore what doesn't deserve you. Not every insult needs a response. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Not every provocation deserves your reaction. Sometimes the strongest move you can make is nothing. And when you master that, you stop being emotionally available to manipulation. You become steady, grounded, hard to shake, becoming untouchable. The discipline of controlled indifference. Now that you understand silence, let's talk about who actually deserves it, because not everyone qualifies for your attention, and most people don't even qualify for your reaction. Enemies, critics, and noise. Who gets nothing? There are 3 types of people you must learn to ignore strategically. The first, enemies disguised as acquaintances. They smile in front of you, question you behind your back, subtly compete with you, celebrate quietly when you fail. If you react to them, you validate them. If you argue, you elevate them. If you defend yourself, you signal insecurity. But when you give them nothing, no anger, no explanation, no visible frustration, they lose oxygen. You must understand something about conflict. An enemy needs your reaction more than you need their defeat. When you respond emotionally, you confirm their importance. When you remain unmoved, you reduce them to background noise. Machiavelli understood this well. A ruler acknowledges threats strategically, but he never reacts impulsively. He studies, he waits, he chooses his moment, but he does not bark, because barking reveals agitation, and agitation reveals weakness. The second group, professional critics. These people build nothing. They comment, they judge, they analyze, they tear down, but they never create. When you respond to them, you step down to their level. You turn from builder into debater, and debate is where power leaks. Let them speak. Your silence says, I am too focused to entertain this. Over time, critics become obsessed with the man who does not notice them. Why? Because they want proof they matter. Don't give it to them. The third group, energy vampires. These are not enemies. They are drains. They call only when something is wrong. They complain endlessly. They attach emotionally without reciprocating. They do not want solutions. They want access. Access to your calm. Access to your stability. Access to your emotional labor. And if you give it freely, you slowly become exhausted. Strategic ignoring here means boundaries, shorter responses, less availability, less emotional investment, not cruelty, control. The real trap, caring too much. Now we reach the most dangerous part, not enemies, not critics, your need to be liked. Most men are not weak because others overpower them. They are weak because they fear disapproval. They overthink conversations. They replay social interactions at night. They analyze tone. They wonder if someone is upset. They check who viewed their story, who liked their post, who didn't reply. This is not awareness. It's dependency. When your emotional state depends on other people's reactions, you are not in control. You are programmable. Compliment. You rise. Insult, you crash. Ignored, you panic. That is slavery disguised as social intelligence. Machiavelli warned against this. A leader who tries to be loved by everyone ends up respected by no one. A man who fears being disliked makes decisions from insecurity, and insecurity is visible. Breaking this pattern is hard. Because since childhood, you were trained to seek approval. Good grades equals praise. Good behavior equals reward. Agreement equals acceptance. So you built your identity around reaction. Now you must reverse it. You must learn to operate from internal standards, not external applause. The man who does not require approval cannot be manipulated. You cannot bribe him with compliments. You cannot threaten him with criticism. He evaluates himself. That is psychological sovereignty. And that is rare. The final shift, building the untouchable version of you. Let's make something clear. Untouchable does not mean emotionless. It means stable. It means grounded. It means your emotional state is not controlled by random people. The untouchable man moves differently. He doesn't rush to respond. He doesn't argue loudly. He doesn't chase validation. He listens more than he speaks. He reacts slowly. He chooses engagement. There is something behind his eyes. Calm, measured, unbothered, and people feel it. He doesn't fight for attention. Attention gravitates toward him. Why? Because he is not leaking energy. He is contained. Every time you choose not to respond impulsively, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you walk away from drama, you elevate your position. Every time you resist the urge to explain yourself unnecessarily, you increase your value. This is not about playing games. It's about mastering your nervous system. Because the man who can be emotionally provoked can be strategically defeated. But the man who remains composed, he becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability commands respect. Your internal kingdom, there is a territory inside you. Your thoughts, your focus, your attention, your emotional stability. That is your kingdom. Most people let strangers walk freely through it, leaving footprints, making noise, rearranging furniture. No more. Access must be earned. Your attention is gold. Spend it wisely. Guard it ruthlessly. Because the moment you stop reacting to everything, you stop being controlled by anything. Your reign begins. From this point forward, you speak less, you observe more, you respond intentionally, you withdraw strategically. People will notice. They will test you. They will provoke you. They will try to pull you back into old patterns. Do not move. This is not ego. This is structure. This is modern Machiavellian discipline applied to everyday life. Silence when necessary. Action when strategic. Indifference when tested. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming sovereign. And sovereignty is quiet. If this mindset resonates with you, comment power below. Not for me, for yourself. Because the reactive remain controlled, but the disciplined, they rule.